Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mindset Driven, the podcast that dives deep into the mindsets of the movers and shakers of our world. I'm your host, Aaron. Today, we are diving into the world of mental toughness, resilience, and personal transformation with our guest, Alex Caamano, a Marine and now a mindset and fitness coach. Alex brings a unique perspective on how to build mental and physical strength. Alex has dedicated his life to empowering men, reshaping their mindset, and rebuilding their confidence to face life's challenges head on. His experiences in the military have forged him an unshakable mental fortitude and a deep understanding of the struggles many men face today's world. In our conversation today, we'll unpack the realities of what it means to be a man in today's society, why it's crucial to redefine these norms, and the role the mindset plays in this transformation. We'll also discuss the power of fitness in shaping our minds and bodies and how Alex leverages this in his coaching. So whether you're looking to transform your life, build resilience, or understand the profound connection between mindset and progress, this is an episode you won't want to miss. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Alex Caamano. Welcome everyone to Mindset Driven. I'm your host, Aaron. Today we have a very special guest, another Marine, Semper Fi brother, Alex Caamano. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Give us just a little background on who you are, where you're at in life right now, and what you're doing.
All right, brother. First and foremost, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I definitely appreciate this and appreciate your time. Definitely going to bring that heat to your audience, man. So my name is Alex. I am the president and founder of Diesel Fitness, which is my brand or my business, pretty much a system to help men and women overcome those negative internal states that I'm going to address here in a little bit: anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, drug abuse, alcoholism, things that I went through that most people are going through. They don't really know how to get out of. So I've created this as a means to help and just push out positivity and change into the world, which we need a lot more of. Last year was definitely a dark time for me. And man, I'm just enjoying life. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be alive. I don't take nothing for granted. And I just want to make it a purpose to touch as many people's lives as possible and save us one person at a time. And that's the gift, that a lot of people don't really recognize, that life is a gift and you have a choice on how you want to live it. But yeah, I'm currently in Miami shopping for places to live here. Man, this place is just unreal. I'm originally from New York. Have 3 boys, beautiful wife that I actually met in the Marine Corps. So I gotta watch what I say. She can snipe too, man. But no, I did 4.5 years in the Marine Corps and 5 years in the Marine Corps. And that's where we met, man. But it's been an interesting journey, brother. I can't really complain right now.
That's awesome, man. So let's start it off. The first question I always ask everybody: what is your definition of a successful mindset, or what is the most important qualities for a successful mindset?
Having personal accountability, and having an analysis of your circumstances. A lot of people don't see their flaws, or they choose to ignore their flaws. Like, I don't have any flaws. I don't have this, I don't have any problems. The reality is you have to understand that you do have problems just like everybody else, but you have to take accountability of what they are. And most importantly, choose not to stay there. So how to develop a ideal mindset? It comes with personal development. Without personal development, there is no success. You can never achieve success without that internal work, the internal dialogue that we have to bring within ourselves. And it's just about accountability. I think that is the biggest word, and the best way to define it is you have to take accountability of your actions, be responsible, and just don't waste this opportunity. I constantly repeat that. Do not waste this opportunity that you've been given, because you only have one shot at this. And people think that they're going to live forever and then habitually make poor choices. And people end up complaining of why they don't have the things that they want, or why their life is a certain way. And well, dude, you got to take accountability of your own fucking choices. You know what I mean? Like, pay attention to what what you've done to get to this point. It's kind of like compound interest. Every decision that you make, as small as it might be, will compound, add on all the time. So people just need to start paying attention to what they do, man, and just kind of make better decisions from now on.
I like that, compound interest. I think, you could talk about that when it comes to lifting, compound lifting. You can add that to different things in life, and it's interesting how you applied that to the mindset. So, for those listening out there, pay attention to what he's got to say, because he's going to be hitting hard, real close to home. So, how did you get into this mindset, coaching, fitness coaching? What drove you to this? I'm sure you had some, just like I have, some internal struggles that you had to deal with, demons. Let's put it that way. What got you to where you're at right now?
It's been interesting, man. So I've been working out for over, like 15 to 20 years. So I've always been into fitness, and I've always been, well, I knew within myself that I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to achieve success. I've been exposed to a lot of different things. I've learned about universal laws, the laws of exposure, which means that if you're exposed to one thing, it cannot be unexposed. Like once you see it, if you experience some type of wealth or some type of experience, you just can't unsee it. So now you create the belief that it is possible for you. Most people can't even think that far. They can't even see past the front door. So what happened for me, it's been an interesting journey. Like I said, I've been working out for over 15, 20 years, serving the Marine Corps. But the reason why I got to this point to do what I do right now, last year we moved back. No, in 2020, we were living in California. January 2020, we decided to move back to North Carolina, where we were stationed at in Camp Lejeune. So after we got out, we moved to Hawaii, Las Vegas, California. And in 2020, we decided to move back. It just made sense compared to how expensive California and Hawaii was. So we moved back to North Carolina, and then 3 months after moving to North Carolina, we purchased our first home. We were welcomed by everybody. Everybody was so welcoming, and we wanted to pay it forward. This is our first time we purchased a home. So we started making friends, and I still had some habits. Like when we were associating with these people, every weekend was like, oh, let's go have a drink, either at their house or our house. It's just the same thing every weekend, and it kind of led me down a hole, if you will, like into depression, anxiety, plus all the residue from our background in the military. So dealing with depression, anxiety, alcoholism, I had a problem that I didn't really pay attention to, didn't think I actually had. Like my wife was like, dude, you're freaking alcoholic, bro. Like you need to change this shit. I'm like, nah, I don't drink that much, but I actually was drinking every day. So I was seeking for external validation. And that's what a lot of people do. They get stuck on seeking everybody else's approval. So for a year, we were hanging out with these people, and they were great people, don't get me wrong, but they don't have the same level of mentality or ambition that I have, for example. Again, you were exposed to one thing, you know it is possible for you. They don't see it that they're too comfortable. And I cannot, bro. I cannot entertain conversations with people who are just comfortable, like settling, that there's no aspirations, no goals. Because how the fuck am I gonna grow if I'm not learning something from you? My job, my commitment to you, if I make friends with somebody, I have an obligation to support you and encourage you to be better, not to stay stagnant. So always hanging out with them and drinking, and then I'm just questioning. I'm like, man, like, what is my purpose? What am I here for? Because I should be dead after all the things that's happened to me, not only in the military, but multiple car accidents, a lot of different things that has happened to me. And I'm wondering, why has God or this divine power has kept me here? And I was always seeking for that answer, but I was looking at it in the wrong place. So it came to a point I was really depressed, had a lot of anxiety. I was an alcoholic, as I mentioned, and it came to a point where I put a gun to my head and almost took myself out. Fortunately, my son knocked on the door when I really had it on my head, and he saved my life. So I knew there was a higher purpose. I knew that was intervention. It's coming from a different place. I knew internally I wanted more. I wanted success. I wanted everything that life has to offer. I mean, the world is just a massive place. I don't think that we should just stay in one place, go out, travel, see things, experience things. So I always had that burning desire within me. I was just in the wrong environment. They're not bad people. They just don't have ambitions. So it just got really, really depressed, man, like really overwhelming for me. But I knew that something needed to happen. So I reached out to my current mentor. His name is Wes Watson. And I reached out to him. And long story short, he just listened to his message of the positive, information, the development. Like I listened to a lot of personal development speakers. So I knew I had that burning desire within me. So I put pride aside and ego as a man. Sometimes we're like, nah, I got it. I got it. I could do this by myself. Well, the reality is, dude, like if you have a fucking problem, you maybe don't have it. You got to get out of that. If you can't do it by yourself, put that shit aside and ask for help. So I finally did that. And yeah, man, it's the best decision I ever made. Invested into myself, invested into my business, and because my life was saved, and I was able to overcome the addiction to alcohol, the abuse, the suicidal thoughts, the vices. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't entertain negativity. I completely blocked everything, which led us to sell our home. And we loved our home, bro. It was a massive, like 3,700 square foot home in North Carolina. I don't know if you've been to North Carolina, but they got massive yards, bro. So it was about half an acre lot. We sold everything. We just gave up everything to pursue our dreams. And me and my wife, we loved the home, but we just basically, got rid of everybody, got rid of everything, and those friendships ended up turning sour when we decided to quit alcohol rather than supporting. They should have been, more encouraging, but that it just exposed them. So it led me down this path, man, of just darkness. But again, I was able to reach, my mentor for assistance, and he gave me this platform. And now I just want to pay it forward, bro. There's a lot of people out there who are going through the same things. They have that darkness within themselves, and they feel like they are alone. My mentor says this. It's like life is like a mirror, right? It's not like a window, which means that me and you have the same problems. We just have different versions of it. The thing is that we all have the same problems. Just because I have a certain thing that I'm going through doesn't mean that you may not be, or that I'm the only one with the problem. There's other people out there. The only difference is what you choose to make of it. We are either leaving a problem, dealing with one, or heading towards another. So you just have to mentally prepare yourself to overcome that and ultimately make it a purpose to create the best version of you and offer that individual to the world.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Honestly, you said a lot of good things there. There's that one saying, show me your five best friends and I'll show you who you'll become. Because the truth is like your environment, which is what I'm alluding to, is what you said, you know what, this isn't right for me. I'm not valued here enough. And you made a change for your family. And hey, man, congrats on your 3 kids, the boys. That's awesome. How long you been married?
You've been now for 15 years, bro.
Hey, me too, brother. Me too. 15 years. I have a 21-year-old son and then 3 daughters. So that's beautiful, man. I'll be 16 in a couple months. But
that's real, man. The law of association is something people really need to pay attention to. If you hang out with 5 losers, you will be the 6th one. So it's like you gotta watch your circle. If you're not learning, you're dying. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not learning anything, you're really wasting your life. You gotta get around people who are fucking elevating.
that's fucking straight up right there. You heard it from himself, man. That's awesome. So how do you stay motivated now? You currently, you're saying that you've made it to this point in life. What's keeping you motivated? Okay, besides family and kids, what's the process going on inside of the head that's allowing you to keep going? And I notice you're not staying at a static. You're on a rise. So like, tell me what that's about.
What keeps me motivated is the understanding that I'm a fucking man and I have a responsibility to myself and have a responsibility to my people. How can I tell my kids to do something if I'm not living by example? I'm not projecting or personifying the teaching, because it's easy as a parent to tell our kids, you got to go to school, you got to get good grades, you got to eat clean, you got to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's kind of fucking hypocritical if we're not living that set of standards, if we're not holding ourselves to that standard. So we have an obligation as men and as fathers to be not only the provider, the protector, but to be that role model that your kids should look forward to. Because my father wasn't there for me. Like it wasn't his fault. He got diagnosed with a brain tumor when I was about 8 years old. So he just kept deteriorating his brain. He was there up until when he passed away. I mean, for most of my adult life, I guess. Well, he passed away when I was like 25, I believe. I'm 37 now, and yeah. So he got sick. He got a brain tumor, but I didn't have that male role model. I didn't have that man to show me how to be a man. My mom had to be mother, father, husband, wife, only one person. So I grew up pretty much in the street, man. I grew up in a product, I would guess, of my environment, although I never committed any crimes. I never went to jail. I never went to prison, did any of that stuff, fortunately. But it was around the environment of like gangs and inner city stuff. This is in New York and Jersey. But again, it's going back to what you feel in your conscience. And a lot of people don't pay attention to their conscience. Your conscience is a direct communication with a divine source, whether it be Jesus, whether it be Allah, whether it be Buddha, whoever it is you believe to, is coming from somewhere. And your conscience, you got to start listening. Most people are like, when you have that inkling, like, hey, Alex, you should do this. fucking take action. Or if Alex, you shouldn't do this, then don't do it. Most people just fail to listen to universal laws because they're living by man's laws. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta start paying attention to when you hear that inkling, when you feel that I probably shouldn't do that. Don't do that, bro. Because it's probably coming from a divine source. So I try to pay attention to a lot of that stuff. And I knew within myself, I'm here for a reason. So I make it as that's my motivation. What keeps me going is that one, I know that I only have one shot at this, that I'm a fucking man. I have a responsibility to myself and a responsibility to the people that I come in contact with. Just kind of like one of the most impactful sayings that come from my boy Wes. He's basically saying that you have a responsibility. Your duty is to create the man that you admire in all ways and offer that individual to the world. And that is like a blueprint that I live by. So that's what keeps me going, brother. On top of that, I mean, I got kids. We have a responsibility.
Man, the more I learn about your story, the more I resonate with you. I didn't have my dad in my life, although he is alive. He just isn't part of my life. My mom was schizophrenic and bipolar. So I was homeless from like 5 to 7 all throughout California. I don't know if you watched my little origin story, but you can look at that later down the line. But there's so much common things that we've been through, and you hitting home with a lot of things, and you're talking about divine source within, and that's something I truly believe in. I don't know if you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is.
Yeah.
But okay, so you understand, like, it's energy. Oh man, we're gonna be good friends, brother. That I'll tell you that right fucking now. Because every morning I meditate, every evening I meditate. I try to meditate for at least 45 minutes during the day. And it's very, very important to me. Like the energy, releasing energy, giving back the energy. It's all about energy in this world. And a lot of people don't realize that. And I can tell you fucking realize it because of what you're saying. And it's fucking amazing.
And it's funny how people talk about the law of attraction. A lot of people they repeat this shit because they see it on the post and it sounds cool. I'm going to fucking share it on social media. It sounds good. But do you believe this shit? Like, do you really believe it? Because yeah, bro, it's out of this fucking world. Don't get me wrong. Like I've tried meditation before, and I was that person that I was at the beginning. It's like, how the fuck am I gonna meditate, bro? I'm constantly thinking about shit. Like I'm a person. My wife talks about this shit all the time. I don't know, like, but she's like, oh, you're an Aries. You're like super fire and aggressive. And I see that. But it's like she always preaching that stuff about, my zodiac sign and stuff like that. But I've always been aggressive. I never really thought about meditation as a possible thing for me. And I've experienced some wicked shit when it comes to meditation. Now, I'm not trying to tell your viewers anything about psychedelics or whatever. I have never done that. But when you get into your own consciousness, when you get into meditation, you will experience some out-of-body shit if you're really into it. And that's just being in one alignment, being with yourself and being with the universe. The law of attractions, obviously, what you put out, you'll get back. It's kind of like it's karmic debt. Perfect example. It's like when you smile at somebody, right, in the street, law of attraction, more likely you'll have a smile back, unless the person's a piece of shit, but you'll get that. So it's all energy, brothers. Like you generally feel somebody cannot even say one word to you. They may be having a bad day. They may be having the worst fucking thoughts. Kind of feel that. You feel their energy transpire. It's kind of like freaking aura that people have, as they walk by you. So if you put out positivity and you have that positive driven energy, like people are gonna feel that from you, and it's like a fucking magnet. People will come to you, and I do that every morning, bro. I pray every morning, and yesterday was a pretty great experience from that. I wake up every morning with gratitude. I wake up and I say thank you for everything that I have, for my family, for my kids, and then I ask. I ask. That's one of the things people don't ask. Ask the universe for what you want, and the universe is gonna get out of the way, and it's gonna give you signs. But first, it's gonna test you whether or not you're worthy of having it. So it's going to send you signs. That could be a person. It could be a thought. It could be something you see. And I try to pay attention. I really try to pay attention. And yesterday was one of those days where things just kept coming at me. So that's why everything talking about energy is pointing to come down to Miami. And it's got to happen, bro.
Yeah, man, I feel like, and not that I know you as well as I think I should, but like, I feel like I'm looking in a mirror in terms of my mindset and thought process and energy and transferring. And I'm an empath. Like that's what my family knows me as. Like he'll know who's fucking going, what's going on with them just because he can feel it. That's who I've been. And And of all fucking things that you said, aura, I just had my aura reading yesterday. My wife like surprised me and took me to this aura reading. And I'm like, how the fuck this guy know that? But things happen, right? It's synchronicity. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome, man. All right. I can keep going about this shit all day, but I want to continue on the mindset journey.
Yeah.
So currently, you say you're a mindset fitness coach. I'm assuming you're gonna have clients and whatnot, right? Or I'm not sure what you call them, but clients, is that the right term? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you find is the most challenging part of being a mindset coach?
The most challenging part of being a mindset coach, I have to understand that I can't help everybody, as we spoke in the beginning. Your energy will match other people. So if they're looking for something to elevate, to reach to a higher purpose, they're only going to attract, obviously, those who are aligned with them. I know that I cannot help everybody, although I'm everywhere. They'll see me on social media, they'll see me on YouTube, and they won't align with people. Some people will critique me because a lot of people are too comfortable. They have settled. So I think the hardest thing for me is, not being able to reach everybody, knowing deep down inside I want to. I want to help everybody. I've been given a chance of life and I really want to touch everybody's life. I want to help as much as possible, but I know that I can't. So I have to come down from the clouds a little bit, understand, I can't help everybody. So it's been like more the challenging thing for me, and trying to help people is that they need to overcome their own doubts and insecurities. They need to get out of their own minds, because most people have this attachment to the past, something that have experienced in the past, and that's called depression. Depression is an attachment to something that's in the past, or they have an attachment to something that hasn't happened yet, and that's called anxiety. Anxiety is the anticipation of something that's not even real, that hasn't even happened yet, because you tell yourself all these probabilities. What if this happens? What if I fail? What if I get hurt? What if this, that, and the other? What if you succeed, bro? What if you look at yourself that way? What if you just reprogram your mind? Like if you talk about Joe Dispenza, he talks about that. Reprogram your mind into thinking possibilities versus limitations. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They're too limited, bro. They just start looking at their fucking friends who have shit, who got nothing, who will never amount to shit, and they take their advice. Whereas they could just completely cut everybody else off, fuck what they think or how they judge you, and just pursue a higher calling, because you feel that inside you. You feel that calling inside you. That's your conscience speaking. But you have a choice right then and there whether or not you're going to listen. If you don't listen, then don't bitch about your life, because you are being given an opportunity. And people don't capitalize on that, man. It's a sad day.
That's pretty good, man. I like what you just said. So I'm taking notes. If I look down, that's just so you know, I'm listening, taking notes. Even though I have the recording, it's good to go back and ask you quick questions. That was good, man. Kind of opened my mind.
By the way, I gotta compliment you on your haircut, bro. That's fantastic. Dude, my stuff grows like every 24 hours, man. I look at yours like shiny. I'm like, damn, dude, I need to get something else.
Well, I get the sun and, it's a little, it's a little different here in Hawaii, that, but I got a good camera too. It makes me look a little bit better, extra, you know what I'm saying? Thank you though. I appreciate that. We kind of talked about the beginning of your life and what you had to deal with, in terms of just the small things and aspects of being a child all the way up to a Marine and then a father. But we didn't really talk about the mindset that you had when you grew up compared to where it is now. So what we're talking about is the evolvement of your mindset. Let's go over that if you don't mind, because I want to see like how you see your mindset and how it's progressed over the years.
I think back then, like I mentioned, I was constantly looking for other people's validation. And a lot of people get stuck on that. We want approval from other people. And I think I wanted to be liked so badly. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be approved. And I joined the Marine Corps to have that camaraderie, to have that sense of brotherhood. And it's something that I actually, value. But I think me pouring into, how do I put it? Me trying to give so much, me trying to get everybody else's, I guess, approval is what kind of get me down this path, because I felt to neglect myself. I was constantly seeking for company rather than embracing my own solitude. And that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid to be alone, but you don't know that maybe that solitude is what you need. Maybe that solitude is what you need to embrace in order to find out who you are, what you need to be, or what your calling is. So growing up, man, it's just like I was constantly, what is everybody else doing? What is this person doing? What is that person doing? Which kind of led to where the aha moment in my neighborhood that I was mentioning earlier, when we purchased this home, we started making friends with everybody, hanging out with these people every weekend. We cook for each other and they say, oh, you're like family. We love you, da da da. But the moment I started talking about my goals or ambitions, like my wife said something like one time, she said, "Oh, I want to buy my favorite car," which is I think at the time was like a Cadillac Escalade. And they're like, "Well, why would you want to Escalade when you could buy yourself a fucking Trailblazer or some other shit?" I'm like, "Motherfucker, she wants an Escalade." You know what I'm saying? Because she wants one. Because it is possible. It is there. It's been created. It's been manifested. We have experienced it. We have, dude, we've driven in Bentleys. We've stayed at $40,000 night places. Not that I'll pay for it, but like it's been exposed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like since we have been exposed to it, we want more of it because life is a beautiful thing, and you only have one shot at this. Your life is truly what you make it. So when they started shitting on that, it's like you started raising the flags. And then it caught me at a point where I was like, what are the neighbors doing? Because I'm self-employed. I work from home and I have all the time. So I'm looking at, oh, what is so and so doing? What is so and so doing? Oh, I need a drink. I need a drink. I need a drink. When in reality, I didn't need none of that, but to embrace my own company. And the reality is, talking about energy, you don't get that full sense of clarity until you have removed all negative things, all negative habits. You're drinking, you're smoking, the negative conversations that you have with people, because those are energy drainers. These are low frequency habits that you cannot expect to achieve high frequency results with a low frequency habit or work ethic. So I needed to change those habits in order to be in full alignment with the individual that I'm meant to become. And that is exactly what I'm going to make the rest of my life to pursue. Like that is what I'm pursuing, to create that version of me that I can be proud of, my family can be proud of, and that could ultimately change somebody else's life.
To summarize that in my head, I'm just kind of making sure I connect the dots correctly. Childhood, external validation; adulthood, where you're at now, internal validation, because you can find happiness within. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I love that you, like the long-tailed version of how you said it is great. But I want people to realize, because we all know sometimes when you talk a lot, people don't catch everything and they won't understand it. So I want to make sure that the viewers understand what you're trying to say, because it's a beautiful way how you explained it, but a lot of people are gonna like look at it and be like, well, this guy says this and this, that and this, and they just don't see the whole picture because it's too much for them. And it's okay. It's all right. You know what I mean?
So in summary, basically summarize it. I went from a point where I was seeking other people's approval and ultimately embraced my own solitude to find out that I didn't need nobody else's approval but my own. So that's what people really need to understand. Get out of your own way, right? Cut out everybody, sit with yourself, with your thoughts, cut out the toxic thing that don't give you that sense of clarity, because you can't think straight when you're drinking. You can't think straight when you're smoking. So give yourself that time being sober, disconnect from everybody, embrace yourself, and just ask yourself, who are you? What do you want in life? Where do you want to be? And then just change the direction to be aligned with that. And just cut out everything else. And that was the journey for me. I cut out everything that wasn't aligned with my purpose. And now, I'm heading the direction where I need to be. And that's just mass servitude, helping other people.
I love it, man. I tell this to everybody that I know. The best cause is to serve others. It's as simple as that. The best cause is to serve others. Good shit, man. And the ability that you have now, I'm seeing it too. It's obviously transpiring into something else that's even greater, because like you've said, I left where I was at because I needed to make that change. Now I'm here in Miami looking for places to stay, which I know it ain't the cheapest place to live. Let's be honest, but you're making shit happen, and that's fucking amazing. My older sisters, half sisters, they live in Miami, so I kind of understand like the pricing out there. It's kind of like, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's up there, man. Especially the closer you are to the beach, the better. Like right now, where we're at, it's about like $2,000 that we're paying, and what we're looking at is about 4,500. So it's like, hey, but it needs to happen. You have to be able to stretch. And I made a video about this morning. You got to take calculated, that's the keyword, calculated risks. If you can't risk, you won't see growth. You cannot stretch. You can't see the potential. You have to be willing to fail and experience some stuff in order to learn from those experiences and just see what you're capable of, man. And that's kind of the thing. Miami is, I'm listening to the universe and it's saying, get over here because of what is happening here. And long story short, man, like Miami is a place that congratulates success. Like everybody's moving. Like you see Bentleys and Rolls Royces, like you see Honda Civics everywhere. Like they're everywhere. So it's a lot of success here. It's not particularly that I'm not chasing money. I'm chasing growth. I'm chasing more about me. Like how can I grow? How can I get better? More me. Who can I serve? It isn't about me. We were talking about this just a few seconds ago. People talk about, you know, like what's in it for me, when in reality is like, who can you help? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm after. Whose life can I impact? And as how it works in the universe, I guess by default, the more people you help, the more you help yourself. Servitude is the key to success, bro.
That was a good definition of how you explain that, man. Like it's perfect. That's fucking amazing. I love it. Okay. So, you covered a lot of my questions with, remember I was telling you earlier, like, oh, I got these questions and usually they answer it. But, I want to switch gears, back to the family. I do want to say one thing. There is you've heard the Bruce Lee say, don't talk bad about yourself because you're casting spells on yourself. That's why it's called spelling, right? You're familiar with that?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I thought of when you said that your wife wanted to get a Cadillac Escalade, and then those people were basically casting spells like, no, why would you do that? Like, no, don't do that. And I can already see that what you're doing is rubbing off on I'm sure your wife, even though she's a Marine, right?
Yeah, she was a Marine.
So no, not was, is.
We are.
I always got to make sure people know, we wasn't Marines. We're not former this. We are fucking Marines. That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to detach from that.
Yeah, it is because a Marine can define you if you let it, but you need to be the person that's being defined by yourself, not.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because when you look at other branches and they look like, they're not held to the same standard. I'm like, oh, that bag of shit. Like, like, why is this dude having a beard wearing damn camis? Like, get out of here, dude. Like, he's not a Marine, he's a damn soldier or some shit. But I know we always joke around each other. We all have the same purpose. We all help each other out, but Marines are the best though.
Of course. No denying that. All right, so the reason why I said I was bringing up your wife and the casting the spells of things, how do you, work on your work-life balance? Because this is extremely important in order for people to understand how they can continue moving forward. A lot of people are going to say, oh, you got to give, 120%, 150% to work and X amount of percent to your family. But in my opinion, just as how I look at it, I see it being an even balance. Like, my family is everything to me. Nothing comes before my family. Nothing. I don't care about work. I don't care about money, which I love that you said you're about the growth, not the money. That was really important and I took note on that. That was beautiful. But for you, what allows you to keep work-life balance?
Well, the reality is, brother, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in being present. So wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, be 100% present. If you're going to work, be 100% at work. If you are with your family, be 100% with your family. So this whole balance thing is basically like a fallacy that people tell themselves. It's okay to make an appointment with your family if need be. But you also have to have, and I made a reel about it this morning, you have to have a supportive spouse. You have to have somebody who's fully aligned with who you want to be. Because I see a lot of people who limit themselves because their spouse already have a limited mindset on those, don't support them. Like, so many men are held back by their spouse. I'm like, well, if she ain't the right for you, bro. Like, she's got to be 100% committed to your personal growth. Just as equally, you have to be supportive of her growth. I personally, I am blessed that I have a very supportive wife who has entrepreneurial spirits, who wants to live, and she's very, very spiritual as well. So it's just like she wants to maximize life. So I'm blessed that we have that full alignment, but there's a lot of people who don't have that. And it's like you got to take into analysis, like, hey, who do you are, what you want to be, but don't let nobody else like limit you. So in regards to the whole work-life balance stuff, like again, it doesn't exist, bro. Just be present with whatever it is that you're doing. If you have, for example, there's a lot of people that I know that own 7 to 8 businesses. Are they busy? Hell yeah, they are busy. But they make time throughout the day. It's like during this hour to this hour, I'm gonna be working. And typically the most successful people wake up early as shit to get things done. They wake up, I normally wake up around 3:30 to knock down my workouts, to do, whatever I gotta do. And that's plenty of time because workout is a must for me. I have to work out. And I'm gonna talk about that here in a little bit, but I have to work out. It's not about getting results, it's about detachment. But yeah, you have to create those blocks of time where you're going to be 100% committed to whatever it is that you're doing during those blocks of time. And there will be no question as to how do I balance this, or I don't have time for this. I don't have time. You do have time. We all share the equal amount of time. It's what you do within those times. People need to just stop lying to themselves, man. Just invest into yourself and invest into your people when you have that opportunity to do so. You don't have to neglect your family because you're working. You don't have to neglect your work because you have family. So it's all about being all in.
Man, that's so good, dude. I don't know what to tell you on that. Like that actually hit home for me. I just created a task list yesterday. I put all the stuff that I need to do per day. I mean, I literally have it right here on the left side of my screen. And, I have all the things, high, medium, low priority, the days I want to do them, the hours I want to spend, 30 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes and whatnot. But the way you said it, be 100% present in whatever you're doing, it hit home for me, man. So I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me that and sharing that, because that actually hit home really fucking well, man. Thank you. Sorry, I know I'm a little. That was good for me. Well, what are your long-term goals with this mindset coach fitness? Like, is there other things that you have that you'd like to achieve? Yeah, just talk about that for a little bit.
As far as, goals is just to don't waste it. Don't waste life. Don't waste this opportunity. You know what I mean? Like I really want to maximize this opportunity. I want to travel to as many places I need to travel to. I want to make obviously as much money as possible, but it's not about the attachment of love for money. It's what I could do with that money. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of celebrities who are filthy rich, but they don't do nothing with it for others. They only to themselves. I'll mention one. This is personally Mayweather. Floyd buys, like, he has an $80 million, bro. You need an $80 million watch. Like, even if he can afford it, that's fine. He has like an $80 million watch. I'm like, dude, with that 80 million, you could have done so much for like other people in other countries. Like, there shouldn't be people starving in Africa. Or if you have this capability, that's what I want, bro. I want to, it may sound bad when I say I want to be filthy rich, but I'm not doing it for me. It's what I could do for others because I take enjoyment. It feels great. Like the other day, I paid for somebody's dinner. I never even spoke to the person. I just saw her. You know what? I'm gonna pay for her stuff. I'm gonna bless her, and then she probably will pay it forward to somebody else. But it's just that attachment to helping others that is much more rewarding than the financial aspect of it, the money in itself. So the goals that I have for the next, my long-term goal would be basically just to impact as many people as possible and just capitalize on this opportunity, man. Just go everywhere and experience everything that God created. And just, again, just trying to help other people wake up and see their potential as well.
That's so good. All right. Well, if that's the case on that, let's talk about some of your setbacks and failures that you've had to endure. Because inevitably you will have failures because that's part of life, but and I already know what you're going to say because I can feel it coming. Like you use those as lessons, I'm assuming. But let's talk a little bit about that. Well, if you're willing to share. Sorry, I should have asked you that. Yeah. But let's talk about some of your failures and setbacks and how you were able to overcome them.
I think, in terms of a lot of the setbacks, they're all experiences. I don't look at things as mistakes. I look at them as lessons. And it could have been like, for example, a mistake could have been getting out of the Marine Corps in 2012 and moving to probably one of the most expensive places there is, Hawaii, with no plan, with nothing set up. And it was probably the worst decision that we ever made. However, it taught us a lot. It built resilience. It built that commitment that, hey, you know what, we're not going to quit because there's really nothing to quit to. Like, what are you going to? What are you going to? If you give up, like, what are you gonna do? Just gonna sit there and like do nothing and that's it with your life? Like, we gotta keep moving forward. So a lot of the experiences, man, it's been an interesting journey aside of the vices, aside of the stuff. Like moving to Las Vegas was probably one of the hardest things for me. And like I mentioned before, I didn't have people guide me to how to be a man, how to be responsible with money or all these other things. It was just trial and error, bro. You have to go through the shit in order to learn from it. So, Hawaii was definitely that type of experience. That we went to Las Vegas. Las Vegas was very dark, bro. Las Vegas was a very dark experience for us. When I moved to Las Vegas, started being a promoter, like promoting for like nightclubs and stuff like that. It was definitely a hustle. So I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, but it was definitely dark, man. A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. We used to literally fucking donate plasma just to make a couple bucks to go get gas or get some food for the kids. And it's imagine going through that as a husband and as a father, like, damn, you feel like shit. Like, you feel like the lowest piece of shit because you can't afford this, you can't afford that, and you have to go donate some fucking plasma. Or we used to like pick up change from and I'm being very vulnerable, man. I really don't care. I have to show that transparency because I know some of the viewers may be going through that. Understand that you are not alone. Understand that you are not the only one that's going through this. You can, however, overcome that. Just keep moving forward. Don't accept mediocrity or average as your life. Average fucking sucks, man. But anyways, so I experienced a lot of that stuff, man. My wife had to sell freaking her ring. Her ring was beautiful, diamonds and everything. We had to pawn it just to so we don't go homeless. Fortunately, because we are veterans, there was an office, some type of organization in Las Vegas that covered our rent for like 2 months. Otherwise, we would have been fucking homeless. And I know you've seen that in Hawaii, bro. Like going through Waikiki, going through Ala Moana, you see a lot of these homeless people. And it breaks my heart when you see a lot of kids involved. Like, and you look at them like, oh, what a fucking failure. How do you allow yourself to get to that point? You bring your kids with you, but you don't know what that person went through, man. You don't know what that person went through. And that could have been us. I would never, like I couldn't allow myself to get to that point with my kids, but it almost happened. So I'm blessed that I had the opportunity. But yeah, Vegas was freaking dark, man. A lot of spiritual battles. And I know we're talking about that. Going into spirituality a little bit. I met a buddy of mine over there. He's read every book, the Quran, the all the books. And he mentioned something about energy. When you have all these depression and all these negative energy with you, technically give birth to something that follows you. It's an entity. And bro, I kid you not, like people may believe this or not, but we have so much negativity, all this negative energy, because of what was happening outside and, in the financial life or whatever, which created a lot of, fights between me and my wife. We technically gave birth to this entity. And I saw this shit follow me every time. It was like a dark figure, but it was energy. And this is what my buddy told me. It's like, look, when you have all these type of emotions, you're gonna give life to something, and that something will follow you and it will drag you. You feel it. You feel this darkness within you. So yeah, dude, Vegas was just fucking horrible. Man, my wife had a lot of issues, with her health and issues with her what is this thyroid and vision, all these different problems. Vegas is like a lot of people go to Vegas like it's the best place. Vegas is can be for entertainment purposes, I guess. If you want to go have fun, if that's your life, I mean, I think it's a waste of fucking time, honestly. But I enjoy the food. I love food. I enjoy the diversity of food, but the party, all that stuff is a waste of fucking life. I used to work my last job, which is the last experience in closing of my chapter in Vegas. I used to work for Brinks, which was an armor truck company, carrying money and all that stuff. I got robbed at gunpoint at some point, at one point, and put the gun to my head point blank. And I didn't really think much of it. It definitely hurt my ego, but what I'm driving with my driver, I see a bunch of people in Vegas, man, with suits, but they're homeless. Like they're wearing a suit, but they're like, oh, they're living in the street and all dirty and stuff. And I'm thinking, like, man, these people they were somebody. Must have been a doctor, a lawyer, somebody that came to Vegas and they gambled their life away. And it's just a combination of all the people, all the choices that people make. So that was definitely one of the, I guess, the failures. But I don't look at it as failures. I look at it as lessons. No matter how negative it may have been, there's some outcome of it. And the outcome of that is the lesson that's hidden between with it. What are the lessons that you're meant to learn? And we can only progress. You look at those situations that are actually, you may think they're happening to you, they're actually happening for you. What are you meant to learn? And all these experiences in my life, all the drinking, all the partying, all the depression, all the alcohol abuse, the being close to taking myself out. I'm glad I didn't, but it allowed me to learn and see with full clarity what I'm meant to do and what I'm meant to be. And since I've, surviving going over IEDs, multiple car accidents, fucking being robbed at gunpoint, me almost taking myself out and overcoming all those things, it's just lessons to get me to where I am right now, man. I'm not even close to scratching the surface. We're just getting started.
Yeah,
So
man. That's I mean, a lot of those things you said hit home. You know, I was suicidal 6 years ago. That was tough for me. Interesting enough, my wife has thyroid issues. She has Hashimoto's. So it's a weird small world, I guess.
yeah,
Um, I I mean, you already know I was homeless from the ages of 5 to 7 throughout California, shelter to shelter to shelter. We're talking Salinas all the way down to Sacramento and closer down to SoCal. I mean, I literally been up and down. And I'll tell you what, man, one of the things that I told my wife this, whenever I have kids, when we have kids, the one thing that they're never going to experience is they're never going to experience my childhood. Now, you said it right now, things happen for you, not to you. And what happened for me is I got to see the things that I knew my kids would never experience because I wasn't going to let it happen to them. They weren't going to be homeless. They weren't going to, go through the fucking struggle of not being able to get this or that, or, having the same pair of shoes for like a year and a half because you couldn't afford to get anything else. No, it's not going to happen. And if I got to sell all my shit so that they can continue, just like you said you had to do, it's going to fucking happen. You know what I mean? And, you got a lot of my respect with what you just said. So, big props to you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it, man. It goes to you as well, man. We have demonstrated resiliency, and we've set a standard to ourselves that whatever has happened to us is meant to happen to us so that we may learn something and vow that it will never happen to them. But we have the responsibility to hold ourselves to that standard and never deviate from purpose. And that's where I saw myself, even though I knew it, that's where I saw myself like going, dude, I'm regressing. I'm not progressing. I'm not making progress. I know what I want. Why the fuck am I not doing it? Why am I not holding myself to that standard? Why am I allowing these people with a limited fucking mindset to dictate where I want to be? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to your friends, everybody wants you to be successful. So they say, but they don't want you to be more successful than they are. So you need to watch your circle closely. If you are the wealthiest person in your circle, you're fucking up. You need to cut everybody off and get around other people that will elevate, people who are more successful than you. And you can't look at it as like, oh, man, like they're more successful than me. Like I met yesterday, I was probably hanging out with two of the wealthiest people in Miami. These guys make over $10 million a month. Like balling. But I went to the gym with them and I'm working out with them. I got their contact information. These guys told me anything you need, I got you. And I'm like, yeah, I got to come down here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just pointing. So why am I not going to knock on that door when it's already almost open? So, yeah, man. So I also salute to you for being resilient as well in your journey, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Earlier you mentioned you wanted to talk a little bit about fitness. So let's dive in because you just mentioned it. You know what I mean? You went to the gym with these guys. What did you want to share about that?
Fitness, to my opinion, I also want to give credit where credit is due. I recommend the viewers to also check out Bedros Koulian. Go look at his podcast. He said fitness is the gateway. I'm not going to quote it verbatim because I don't know exactly what he said, but he did say somewhere along the lines that fitness is the gateway drug, the gateway to solving pretty much all of your problems. And I firmly believe that because, again, it's all about energies. Let's say, for example, you wake up in the morning. The very first thing you're going to do is brush your teeth. So you're looking at yourself in the mirror, right? You're looking at yourself in the mirror. If you don't like what you see, immediately you're triggering a negative emotion. So you just started your day with an L, right? You either woke up late, you probably hit the snooze button repeatedly, or you just don't like the way that you look, so it triggers a negative emotion. What if you were to reverse it? I'm a firm believer that, bro, we need to get fucking jacked, especially as men, because when we were young boys, we looked at WWE, right? We looked at bodybuilding, we looked
Yep.
at, holy shit, that's Stone Cold, holy shit, that's The Rock, this motherfucker's a jack. So as a
Yeah.
little kid, you look up to that. What happened along the way that we fucking deviated? Trust me, I've been fat too. Like I've let myself go in the past. It's never gonna happen again. But it's like we look at it and it's like we admire these individuals, these phenomenal athletes. But growing up, somewhere along the line, if we choose to, because we associate with bad people, or we get lazy, we participate in some vices, we let ourselves go. So again, I told you in the beginning, I've been working out for a very long time, and I've had those phases, and I posted on my Instagram the other day. I've had those phases where I've been skinny to jacked to fat to lean or bulking. I had all these different phases. Now at 37, I'm in the best shape that I've ever been. And that's because I've cut out everything when I identified it that didn't serve my purpose. I cut out drinking, smoking, negative people, all the stuff. And but yeah, fitness is the gateway, man, because it all starts with, especially as men, we want to be jacked, we want to feel good, we want to feel like the protectors. And women are more emotionally attached to things because they want to feel good, they want to feel attractive, they want to feel sexy, they want to fit into a certain dress. What the fuck are people doing that they let themselves go? It's because they're too much into the pleasure seeking. Too much pleasure creates that lack of accountability. And what is that pleasure that people are seeking? That rush of dopamine, that happy feeling. Oh man, that burger tastes good, bro. That burger tastes good. That pizza tastes good. Okay, well, I'm not saying you can't have it, but too much of that is what gets you drunk if you drink several beers. I'm not saying that beer doesn't taste good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It tastes great back then. I would never do that shit again, but it's like it tasted great. Now, okay, I'm gonna have one beer, then it turns to four, then it turns to seven, then it turns to 10, But that's why you get drunk. Too much of that rush of dopamine, which is gonna lead you to the complete opposite, feeling like shit afterward. Like it's not a way to live. And the same thing with like food. Food is like what people use to seek comfort from a certain feeling. So we chase all these vices to escape a certain emotion that we're actually meant to go through. People drink because they've had a long day of work or a long week of work. Maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. Look at it as I'm blessed I have a fucking job, that I have income coming in, rather than, oh my God, my week sucked. Motherfucker, you got a job, you got income. You don't need to drink. Go get yourself a pump. Go to the gym, knock out some push ups and some burpees. I promise you that all negative emotions that you may have, you walk into a gym, they go out the window when you get out. Unless you sat on your ass and fucking played with your phone the whole entire time. Go in there, get yourself a massive fucking workout. And as a byproduct of that consistency, your body's going to respond. But you can't look at it with the whole superficial stuff. Working for me right now, working at the gym, which is why I mentioned in the beginning, most people treat fitness as an inconvenience or as a hobby. You're looking at it the wrong way. Fitness should be a lifestyle right there. It should be a lifestyle. When you go to the gym, it is not to get a result. That result is the byproduct of the individual that you become when you show up every fucking day and you make it non-negotiable. That's why I make it very difficult to wake up at 3:30. Why? I don't have to be nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, they complain about their lives, especially on Monday morning. Man, I got to go to my job, da, da, da. And then they look forward to Friday so they could drink and the weekend passes by. And they're just a repetitive cycle of shit. I wake up at 3:30 because it fucking sucks. You wake up at 3:30, it's uncomfortable, and you hear those voices, you're conscious. Hey, Alex, stay in bed, bro. Like you're comfortable, man. It's you got nowhere to be, man. Why? Just stay in bed. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. I got somewhere to be. So I go to the gym, I smash that workout, and I stack my day with win after win after win after win. So when you have several hours of just stacking wins, then you have a day where you won. If you have several days throughout the week of just stacking wins, now you have a couple of weeks and months and then years and then the rest of your life. So stacking wins, man, is pretty much what people need to start focusing on. So fitness has to be a lifestyle, like I mentioned before. You have to hold yourself accountable because you feel good. When you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you perform good in every aspect of your life. And that's kind of the thing what I mentioned just briefly about yesterday. Literally ran into multimillionaires, like one after the other, not just because I'm putting onto the universe. I'm coming out of the grocery store. This dude is putting groceries in his Cullinan, beautiful ass Cullinan, a Rolls Royce Cullinan for those that don't know. So he's putting his groceries in his car, and I'm walking right past him. I didn't even say a word. And he's like, "Bro, put a shirt on," because I have one of those muscle shirts, like the tank, like that shows my entire back,
Yeah.
and I'm all tatted up in my back. So he's like, "Bro, put a shirt on." And I was like, "I'm trying, man. I'm trying." Just joking with him, and he just started talking to me. And he said, "You compete?" I was like, "No, I don't compete. I'm just doing it for me. Just for sanity, just being, on purpose." He's like, "Bro, you look great, man." And I was like, "Cool." So I walked away, and I'm walking back to my car. He calls me over. It's like, hey, bro. So like, do you have an Instagram or something? So I'm like, yeah. So I walked up to him. We started shooting it up again. This guy's a professional freaking soccer player. He played for a team in New England, like professional MLS soccer. Like, his name is Ashton something. I forgot what it is, but he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. Very very successful financial guy. And it's like, bro, I need your help, man. I used to be an athlete, but I tore my Achilles or some stuff in his leg, and now I want to get back into fitness. I didn't start this conversation, but he wouldn't have approached me if I didn't hold myself to that standard by looking the part. And I made videos about this the other day too. I go to these gyms, bro, and I see these motherfuckers having the sign on the back that says personal trainer. Bro, you look like your clients. What the fuck can you do for them? Like, a lot of these trainers don't hold themselves to that standard. I don't have the certifications. I don't have a personal training like NASM or Nesta or any of this stuff. And that's great to have the knowledge, but you better freaking, walk the talk as well, bro. You better look the part. I am, and I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything, but I am a walking billboard of what people want to look like. I don't have the certifications. I just hold myself to a higher standard. That's what people need to do. Hold yourself to a higher standard, and everything will just start falling into place.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, like if you walk into a room and then, there's, no disrespect to these people, if there's like fat, fit, fat, you're going to be like, I'm going to talk to the fit guy and it's just a straight up honesty because and I'm talking about like myself in particular, I know that person has discipline and I'm going to want their discipline because they're going to do what it needs to get done for whatever project, whatever, they're selling, whatever the case may be. I know they'll get it done. I'm not going to go to them.
Exactly.
I'm not.
Exactly. They don't have to know anything about you, bro. They don't have to know anything about you. They just see, yo, he's fucking jacked. He has accountability. He has consistent. He has discipline because look at the way that he looks. And that is going to transpire into business. Because if they are a business owner or they have this opportunity they want to share with you or they want to work with you, then they can depend that by looking at you like, hey, he holds himself to that standard. Now, given if your work ethic sucks in terms of business, and that's a separate situation. But at the very least, the fact that you look the part says a lot about you. And the problem that I hate to see, bro, is so many fucking people treat this shit as an inconvenience. Oh, I don't feel like going to the gym. You know how many people talk about, oh, I got to get this done. I got to get my degree first. What does that fucking have to do with you going to the gym, bro? You could go to the gym and work on your degree. Like, they treat it as an inconvenience. Show up there every day, and I promise you, your performance will be better. You will start thinking more clearly, especially if you let go of the fucking vices. So I think, and I agree fully with what Bedro says, fitness is the gateway. At the end of the day, also, and I made a video about this the other day, a lot of people believe in God, right? And in the Bible, I'm not like this overly religious person, but I have faith. I believe in God. It says in the Bible that we were created in God's image, right? It says it in the Bible. We're created in God's image. So if you genuinely believe that, how can you deliberately say fuck you to God by destroying this body he gave you, this vessel? This is a vessel, right? You're destroying it. So we're created in God's image. Yo, take care of this shit. A lot of people are like, oh, they're just gonna overconsume all these different foods and destroy themselves, which leads into diseases like fucking diabetes or high blood pressure. All of that is by your choice, bro. I don't believe, and a lot of people may hate me. I don't give a shit. A lot of people think that obesity is some sort of condition. It's a fucking choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice. Nobody fed you. You chose to do that, and it all compounded for you to get to this point. And that's why you see all these fucking people at Walmart riding around in scooters, getting everybody's way. Bro, you did this. It may sound like an asshole. Your viewers are probably gonna hate me, but like you're in the way, bro. Like, you did this to yourself. Like, I want to help you, but I'm also not gonna feel fucking sorry for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you did this to yourself. And I cannot feel too much pity or whatever for somebody who deliberately chooses to kill themselves, because they become a liability to themselves and to their family. Now your family has to wash you, bathe you, take you everywhere because of your own fucking choices. Just as equally, you have a choice to change that. And that's what I'm here to do. So
that's good shit. Like, everybody needed to hear that, because without accountability, without discipline, you're never going to reach your fucking goals. And it's so evident in what you're saying, man. Like, it's really powerful. So thanks for sharing that. Is there anything else that you want to share? Because I have a few other questions, but they're kind of like my outro questions. Is there anything like you want to share, like, I don't know, about mindset, about anything?
Yeah, invest into yourself, invest into knowledge, invest into everything that you know you want to do. So if you want to physically look a certain way, invest into a gym membership. It doesn't matter whether you know what you're doing or not. It doesn't fucking matter. That's like me personally. Like you look at all these other gyms, like Planet Fitness, for example. I have my opinions about Planet Fitness, but they have like this no judgment zone shit. Like, bro, come on, man, just show up to a fucking gym. Who gives a shit? Most people have this. I didn't even know about this, but people think that I didn't know that fear going to a gym was a thing. Like people are
Oh
afraid of
yeah.
going to a gym because they look at it as like, I don't know what I'm doing or I'm going to get judged. The reality is most people don't even give a shit. They're probably working out. It's all in your mind. Now, if somebody judges you, who gives a shit? They probably look worse than you anyways. They don't even know what they're doing. I see a lot of these meatheads of the gym that don't even know how to proper form. I embarrass the fuck out of them. I don't care how you look. You know what I'm saying? But like, if you have these physical flaws, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. If you have physical flaws, understand that you could change it. You have a choice. Like, don't settle for looking this way and feeling this way. I don't believe men that we should have fucking tits, bro. Like that's women shit. Like we shouldn't have that. And I had them before. I'm like, holy fuck, I need to make some shit happen. So I was like, I hate it. And everything that I'm saying for anybody that's watching is not about me criticizing you. I was there. I was there. I had all these fucking rolls. I had all these like fucking tits and whatever. No man should ever look like that. And I have to be brutal. I have to be raw because this is how you're going to get change. But my job is not just to get you to get to change or get a certain type of results. My job is to teach you how to keep them. Because a lot of people just go and get results and they go right back and regress because of their associations or their choices. So my job is to show you how to create a lifestyle that you could adapt or apply for the rest of your life. And that applies to fitness, that applies to business, and most importantly, when it comes to business or fitness or anything in general, personal development. Your level of success can never exceed your level of personal development. So if you know you're lacking in poor mindset, you have doubts, take an analysis first and foremost of your circle, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not easily influenced. Bullshit. We are all influenced.
Right.
We are all fucking influenced. You may have some sort of willpower. You could probably not go out one night. Doesn't mean that you won't go out the other day. Or then after that, they'll call you a certain number or a certain name, like, oh, you think you're better than us or whatever. No, dude, I just have priorities. And you have to be willing to say, be comfortable in saying no. Like, just say no, man. Tell your people to fuck off. And I tell that to my family as well. Like, you're either with me or you're in the way. So that applies to everybody. So watch your circle. Obviously, the law of association is a very important thing. You also pay attention to, your day-to-day habits. What kind of information are you listening to? What are you drawn into? Like, are you listening to positive material? Are you reading books? And I was coming from experience. I was a person that got easily distracted. I didn't read books. I didn't want to, because I easily get distracted. I didn't want to listen to positive material. But if you do this on a day-to-day basis, after, I don't know, don't quote me on this. I don't know how many days you have to do it, but it becomes a habit.
21 days.
21 days. So do that shit for 21 days, bro. Or try 75 Hard by Andy Frisella. Like, just do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a huge first form guy too, bro. I love first form. But like, I haven't done it myself because I know where I lack. I admit drinking a gallon of water a day is probably gonna be the most difficult thing for me. And it may sound stupid for a lot of people. I don't drink a lot of water like that. So that's one. And maybe the two pictures. I could probably do one.
No, it's one picture. It's one picture.
Oh, it's one picture.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's what I could do the two workouts. You got to read a 10 pages, right? And then stick to a diet. I don't follow a specific diet. I don't have like the Atkins diet or some shit. I just count macros, bro. Like I just stick to my numbers.
Well,
so it's very simple because at the end it goes back to that dopamine stuff. We're constantly chasing that rush of dopamine, what feels good. So we all want to enjoy a burger. I mean, what are you gonna do for Thanksgiving? Eat fucking quinoa? Like, you want to do something you enjoy. It's like, oh my god, my family, especially in Hawaii, bro. I fucking love sippies. Like I told you the other day. So, for those of you that haven't gone to Hawaii, you gotta try sippies. I like that stuff. But that's just me. But anyways, track your macros. And that's what I do, man. I track my macros, but I still get to enjoy the foods that I gotta enjoy because I'm not missing anything. People end up going regressing because they end up missing something and they go right back into the habits and they overconsume and they get fat again. So in short, again, read positive material, invest into your knowledge, invest into wisdom. I learn from people who have the lifestyle that you want to adopt. Where do they go? What do they do? Where do they like to go eat? What are their habits? What do they like? Start liking and doing the things that they do so that you can start developing that type of mindset. But you also have to believe that you are already in possession of whatever it is that you're after before it manifests itself. Because if you don't fully believe it, Universe is not going to give you that. You have to put out that positivity. So personal development and just self accountability, man, every single day. Fitness, mindset, and nutrition.
Um, so like I said, the question thing, it always happens to me. But the next questions I had were one, I already know one of your mentors, obviously Wes Watson, great guy. Do you have any other mentors? So I'm going to make this a long tail question. Do you have any other mentors? Do you recommend any books / podcasts or any other resources for people? And be specific as you can so that, people can go out there and find it.
I think personally for me, the ones besides Wes that have made tremendous impact. It also depends on what industry. Like I've been in network marketing and direct sales before, so I've learned from the Jim Rohns, the Bob Proctors, the Anthony Robbins, Ed Milet, a lot of these like successful people in those areas. Now, in general, the as raw as possible, the ones that have influenced me the most, where I am at currently, definitely Wes Watson, Bedros Keuilian, definitely Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, freaking David Goggins, but there's just so much I could listen to David Goggins. Like there's just so much I could listen to him. Like I don't resonate too much with him like that, but those are the ones. So I definitely recommend the MFCEO project. Well, he doesn't have that. I think it's Real AF.
Yep.
I recommend listening to him. I recommend just anything in general, any podcast, anything that is aligned with where you want to be.
Okay.
Learn about entrepreneurship, learn about sales, learn about negotiation, learn about communication, learn about everything that whatever you want to learn about, and just find out those resources. As far as books, man, like shoot, there's a ton. I mean, I could recommend Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend and one that was really great, I think it is by Napoleon Hill, is Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil. That is a phenomenal book, man. I'm currently reading one called The Art of Living, which is basically Stoicism. You learn from Epictetus, you're listening or learn from Marcus Aurelius, which are known as some of the best philosophers. And it taps into spirituality or consciousness. A lot of the different things, man. This is just a wealth of knowledge out there. Invest into that rather than listening to some bullshit on the fucking radio, like some rapper talking about how much hoes they got or how much money. That is irrelevant to you.
Right.
Most people just talk shit about things they haven't even experienced. It's all just to sell. You know what I mean? There's a lot of rappers right now that just absolute garbage. I don't even know how they made it.
Mumble rap.
You know what I'm saying? I think, is that still a thing? I mean, I'm sure that we had that little bit of a phase for about that year or two. And then all of a sudden, like, because like, we don't hear Migos anymore. And I think they started that shit. But they don't pay attention to the words. So, I mean, it's just the beat that sounds okay. But invest into yourself, man. And most importantly, I want the viewers to understand this. You have to create a distinction between an investment and an expense. You got to stop looking at everything that is personal development wise or is going to better you as an expense. Look at it as an investment to yourself. Stop attaching yourself to money. Money is something that you can make again. Just become more valuable. Time is the one thing that you can never get again. So don't waste it by feeding your mind bullshit and by just doing stupid shit, man, because you're going to look like shit and you're going to feel like shit, and shit is all you'll be.
That's good shit. I'm glad you brought up Stoicism because I was going to recommend that if you didn't. I have, I don't know, maybe 10 of Ryan Holiday's books, if you know who that is.
I heard about him yesterday. Yeah, I didn't look into that.
So Ryan Holiday, he has this podcast. It's called The Daily Stoic, and it's anywhere from 3 minutes to 15 minutes. And yes, and he puts out some extremely good knowledge. He has a book called The Daily Stoic, and every day you read a page, and so it literally starts from January 1st all the way to December 31st. So if you buy the book today, right, you're going to start on July 7th, and then you go, and then you finish up and you go back to the beginning and whatever. And I read it already twice, just because every morning when I wake up, I meditate. I read my one page in the Daily Stoic, and then I write down all the things that I'm thankful for, and what are the things I also want to do. That's kind of like my routine. And then I go for a walk, and I go for a walk around 4:40. So I'm up at 4, just like you, early as fuck. You know what I mean? It's built into my DNA, obviously from the Marine Corps, but now because I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, like I made a huge shift in the last year. Obviously, I've had a lot of fucking problems. I had back surgery, elbow, shoulder, wrist. I mean, I had the fucking the bullshit. And I let that be an excuse for so fucking long that I stopped loving myself. And when I stopped loving myself and I said it out loud, I decided to make a change. And that same day I told my therapist I didn't love myself anymore, that next fucking day I started 75 hard. So I get it. You know what I mean? And I completed it. I actually did 104 fucking days straight because I fucking forgot to take a picture. I forgot to fucking take a picture on day 29, so I had to start the fuck over. But I didn't stop. That's the whole point. A lot of people will say, oh, I fucked up. I'm going to wait a couple weeks and then I'll start again. 104 fucking days of double fucking workouts, gallon of water, all that shit. And it was fucking hard. My feet were the worst part of it. Like everything else, nothing. But my feet had fucking like, what do you call it? Calluses like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that was the hardest part for me. But yeah, back to the fucking stoicism. Stoicism for me, man, is changed the game. You know, Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, Seneca, Epictetus, those guys, like they have, like, isn't it funny? And let me ask you this question. Isn't it funny that the knowledge was there, like, I don't know how long ago, but somewhere along the line, it was either taken away from us or it wasn't taught to us at all because they want us to be sucked into their system. They don't want us to have our own knowledge and our own brain and use it for the positive, like, mindset that we need as men. Well, I'm sorry, but go ahead.
That's the thing. People think that, oh, this is some like conspiracy theory. No, this is a fucking fact. It is easy to control a population who can't think for themselves, who are fat, broke, and sick, because they want to keep you fat, broke, and dependent. So people talk about, oh, you know, the economy this, the economy that. Yeah, sure, it may be going in a certain direction, but how about you create your own economy? Andy Frisella said this. The greatest form of rebellion is personal excellence. When you focus and give all energy to yourself, you create your own economy, your own future. All this other shit is irrelevant. People who are glued to the fucking news, and I was guilty of this shit as a patriot. I love this fucking country, and I hated what happened in the past couple of years with all these fucking Antifa and all these bitches, like, you know, what they're running cities. Like, I love this country. And I'm saying I wasn't born here. I was born in Dominican Republic. I am an immigrant. I came here legally. I got the paperwork. I served in this country. I was willing to die for it. I have met my wife and all these different things. So this country has blessed me with a lot of opportunities. This is honestly the greatest country on fucking earth. So I could have gotten so frustrated about all these things, and I was, but I had to detach from that because at the end of the day, none of this impacts me. Now, if I worked at a regular job, of course it did, because they used that bullshit to like, oh, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. A lot of people got fired because they wouldn't take this. I respect everybody's choices, but you shouldn't fire somebody and ruin their livelihoods because they choose not to. That's just my personal opinion, to take, you know, whatever. But what happened, man, like if you get so caught up on that, you realize like, dude, none of this stuff really has an impact on you. You really got to focus on you. Focus on yourself, focus on your personal growth and your people, what you can control. And that's part of what I just read in Epictetus, is like the very first chapter. It says something about, I don't know the exact quote, but it says something about focus on what you can control. And everybody focus on the shit that they can control. And it allows these things to like dictate their life. And that's why they just have a miserable life, because they give so much energy, again, in the subject of energy, to all these other things and all these other sources like the media or politics or politicians, when they shouldn't have to. Give all your energy into your own personal growth, and everything else just fucking sort of like disappear. You know, work for yourself, create your own shit, create your own brand. Like I support my kids' dreams at all. Like they want to be a chef or an athlete, great. I support you in your dream, but eventually I want to plant seeds of entrepreneurship because I want my kids to be dependent only on themselves and not on anybody else.
Yeah, you've brought this up a few times, but in the way I think about it, it's fear of judgment that really is limiting people nowadays, especially because of the world we live in with social media, right? Like you can do one stupid fucking thing, and even if it's you, like on your, let's say you're at the gym, right? Which this does fucking happen, and you know you don't have the right form, but you're there learning, you're there trying. and some douchebag is sitting in the back fucking recording you, talking shit about you. And next thing you fucking know, you're all over the internet because you did something the wrong fucking way, right? It's fear of judgment, and it's because of social fucking media that all this shit is possible. I truly believe that, like, if we could just believe in ourselves, like you've mentioned multiple times, we wouldn't have that fear of judgment. But because of all this other external bullshit, it just limits the fuck out of us. And it's so heartbreaking to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so heartbreaking. And yeah, man, you hit home on everything. Is there any, like, not that you haven't fucking said it already, but is there anything specific you want to say to somebody who wants to start doing what you do?
Just get out of your own way and take that leap of faith. Just jump. You know what I mean? Make the investment. Again, going back to the, to what's significant for me, is the detaching from money. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I don't have the money for this. Again, understand that money can be made again. Just become more valuable. Get creative. Find a way to make money. I told you in the beginning, I fucking went and gathered all the coins that I could find, put it into a jar, and try to turn that shit in. I sold, I got rid of plasma or whatever to make money. So it's kind of like a crackhead, for example. I'm not saying that I'm a crackhead, but like, you're looking for a crackhead. Do you think a crackhead is not gonna find a way to get that dose? Bro, we're getting out hustled by crackheads. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, like, we judge him. Look at that bum. Look at that crackhead. Bro, he could out-hustle you. He's got that work ethic at least. He's not doing it, applying it in a healthy way. But, yo, he's got that, or he's got that fucking drive. I'm going to find a way to make that money. I'm not saying go and do some nasty shit, but I'm sure you could get creative to make money. So detach from money. It can be make again and make an investment to yourself. To start this platform, or what I have right now, it cost me about $8,000. $8,000 is obviously a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But who I've become and where I'm going is worth way more than that. Most importantly, because it's kept me alive. I'm alive because of that. So fuck the money. Fuck the $8,000. That is nothing. We can make that shit again. In fact, I've already done that. But it's like, I'm alive, bro. Like, I'm alive because of it. You don't have to become this wealthy person. If whatever it is that you want to do, if that's what you want to do for the rest of your life and it makes you happy, you live a successful life. You are happy. And that's ultimately the purpose of life, to live a happy lifestyle. Even if you want to sell fucking ice cream, you want to open up your own ice cream shop. If that's what makes you happy and fulfilled, bro, you are successful. That's what it takes. People attach success to having millions of dollars, and that's not really true. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to that level for the impact of other people. I want to build schools. I want to build, hospitals, because I've been in countries that hasn't, that especially, and I'm sure you know this, you probably went to the Middle East. You saw shit. I went to Afghanistan. I served in Afghanistan. People had like houses made out of mud. I gave a bottle of water to this little girl. She must have been 5 years old. And fortunately for us, we had a chow hall that had, freezers and stuff like that in our fob. And I gave this little girl ice cold bottle of water. She'd never seen that shit before. She must have been 5 years old. I was on the patrol, and she started crying, bro. It's like I made her life, and she was so happy to share that. And it kind of puts into perspective, put things into perspective. Like, yo, we bitch about all these different things that we tell ourselves we lack. When there's people out there who have nothing and they're grateful and they're happy, we need to change our perspective. So put yourself in a position where the economy or whatever doesn't impact you, but most importantly, put yourself in a position to bless others, because that's when you'll find the true fulfillment in other people. And again, just for anybody who wants to do what I do, detach from just personal gains and what is in it for you and what's in it for others. Whose life can I impact today? And you'll see that all your problems, whatever it may be, are going to disappear when you solve other people's problems. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to solve everybody's problem in terms of their physical attributes, where they lack, if they're overweight, if they're unhealthy, if they have a poor mindset. And that's what I structure my coaching on, to address not just the physical, but most importantly, the mental. Who you become along the way, and create a blueprint of something you can carry on for the rest of your life.
Beautiful, man. Oh, that was awesome. So where can everybody find you at? Let's hear it so we can tell everybody.
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is diesel_fit03. I'm also starting the YouTube channel. I'm also on Facebook under my name, Alex Caamano. And yeah, man, this is a platform just to be out there. The funny thing is, brother, that I didn't want to be in a rink or you want to be a little bit more reserved, but now I have to be open. I didn't want to call myself an influencer, but I guess I am trying to positively impact other people's lives. So they can find me on Instagram. And if you're lacking in those areas, again, understand that you have the opportunity to change. Don't settle. Stop settling and aiming low. Because when you aim low, you're eventually going to hit. Aim high and you're going to hit as well. And even if you aim at a certain point and you hit a little bit beneath that, it's still better than where you are right now. So don't settle for average. Don't settle for mediocrity. You have an opportunity. It's kind of like what Malcolm X said before, is that which you do not hate, you will eventually tolerate. So stop tolerating anything less than what you deserve. So you can find me on Instagram. And if you want to get jacked, if you want to improve your mindset, you want to get in the greatest shape possible, hit me up. I'd love to work with you.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate all your time today. It was an amazing talk. I'm very thankful. Semper Fi to you, brother. That's always what it's about. That camaraderie that is sorely missed. I'll tell you right now, it's sorely missed. And I appreciate everything you had to say, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, brother. Hopefully, it changes people's lives and wakes people up, man. I think we have to start a collective of great minds and just positively impact other people, because there is an opposition. The opposition is trying to keep us below average. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with that. Well, thank you again. And, I'm Aaron. This is Alex Caamano. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody.
Appreciate y'all.